It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So hype right now. Anything's possible. Oh, my mama. Oh, my lady, ma. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Rain and Jay's back with the vengeance. All the real Celtics fans in attendance. This the truth like 34. This like walking in the garden when you hear the roars. The crowd goes crazy. Most in-depth coverage on the daily. Mainly podcast royalty, the content kings. When you talking about the franchise with 17 rings. Focus like Danny at the deadline. Global, but it got a local feel like the red line, the blue line, the green line. Play it in between time. I'ma throw my C's jersey on in the meantime and press play. When the F's done, I can't wait until the next day. Trying to stay in tune with the C's, that's the best way. Melly.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Thank you for making this show part of your daily routine, whatever it is that you are doing right now, wherever you're going. I'm very happy that you have taken this show with you, whether you're listening on your headphones, in the car, on a speaker, or if you're watching on YouTube. Very much appreciated. I do thank you for taking the show and making this a daily thing that you do, because this show is a Monday through Friday show. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Boston Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I'm also the author of the Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. This book that I'm showing you on YouTube right here, please buy it wherever books are sold, or you can buy it on my personal website, johnkaralis.com. You can get one signed for the low, low price of $30. That covers the shipping. That covers everything. So I'm coming to you after the Boston Celtics lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jesus Christ. Like, Jesus, man. Like, okay, 102-94. And no Kemba, obviously no Jaylen. Jaylen Brown had surgery. Everything's great. He posted the thumbs up picture on his all social outlets. Brad Stevens afterwards said all the reports out of the surgery were that it went well. So no Jaylen, obviously. No Kemba, no Smart, no Robert Williams. So basically Jayson Tatum and Evan Fournier and everybody else. So it was going to be tougher than usual. But losing to a team that had lost 11 straight, not exactly what Celtics fans had hoped for. Now, the Celtics are known as the NBA slump-busters now because they lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who lost 14 straight prior to facing the Celtics, and who have lost 8 straight since facing the Boston Celtics. And so, it's not great here in Celtics land. It's bad, actually. The Celtics are officially the 7th seed. There's just nothing. They can go no higher than 7. And so in this game, actually, early on, the Celtics had success attacking the basket, and they kind of got away from it. I don't know why. The Celtics had some. They attacked Jared Allen. Aaron Nesmith right away, initially, attacked Jared Allen, got a foul, like the first possession of the game, it felt like. And I thought, hey, great. Aggressive attacking Celtics. This is, at the very least, without all of these guys being undersized, I thought the Celtics could come out here and be aggressive, attack, and all of that stuff. But they didn't. Hey, by the way, today's episode is brought to you by Locker Room. Download the app. Join me on Friday afternoon. It's on iOS. It's on Android now. Beta on Android. Follow me at John Karalis. I do a Locker Room every Friday afternoon. So download it. Follow me there. Locker Room is changing the way we talk about sports. Okay, so the Celtics were attacking, and they kind of got away from that. And then they got jump shot happy, and then their defense fell apart. And they had chances against a very cold shooting Cavs team. And then Kevin Love got hot. And then it just all fell apart. Here are the numbers from the game. Jayson Tatum, 29 points to lead the Celtics, 11 of 26, 1 of 6 from 3, 6 of 8 from the line, 8 rebounds and assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. So when you look at Tatum's line, you say, wow, look, man, dude dropped 29 and 8. Not bad. A couple of steals, a couple of blocks. Not a bad game from Tatum. The 11 of 26, okay, he wasn't shooting great, but he still dropped 29. 6 of 8 from the line, that's not bad. 1 assist. 1 assist, I'm not buying the 1 assist. This was a game where the Celtics needed Jayson Tatum to be more than 1 assist. I would have rather had Tatum score 22, have those 8 rebounds, and have 5 assists. That would have been a much better Jayson Tatum game than 29 and 1 assist. This is a game where Tatum has to go in. And is this nitpicking? Is this unfair to Tatum? Maybe. But also, if he wants to be the superstar player that I know he can be, that I thought he was becoming, and he may still be becoming, I don't want to go too crazy and overreact to a loss. He's on the cusp of superstardom. He's not at that first team All-NBA. Last season, this season, not fringe All-NBA. He might make third team. So one of the 15 best players in the league, 20 best players in the league. That's pretty damn good. So let me make sure that I'm phrasing this correctly. He's one of the top 20 players in the league. What the Celtics needed him to be in a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where you're missing 4 starters and you've got a bunch of young guys, is to be a top 10 player in the league. To go out there and step up and say, hey, if you're going to play these 35 minutes, then collapse the defense, attack. And I know some people might want to say, well, Tatum had COVID. Yeah, I know Tatum had COVID. I'm one of the at the front of the line in the Tatum had COVID argument. But Tatum was attacking and dunking on Jarrett Allen late in the game. Had 2 late fourth quarter dunks. So he had the energy. It was there. Tatum has to attack, drive, and kick in these situations. Create opportunities for your teammates. If you're not creating opportunities for your teammates, then you're not that next level guy. You're a great scorer. You're the tier below. The tier above is next level. Either you're scoring 40 or you're scoring 20-something and dishing a bunch of assists and creating for your teammates. And if you're elite, you're doing both. But I'm not saying Tatum had a bad game. I was expecting Tatum to have a better game, and he should have had a better game. It's the Cavs. So Tatum was fine, but they needed him to be more than fine. Evan Fournier was not fine, but basically coming back down to earth shooting. 15 points, 6 of 20 shooting, 3 of 9 from 3, 4 rebounds and assists, 2 steals, a block. It is what it is. He had to come back down to earth somehow. And same with Aaron Nesmith. 3 of 10 overall, 0 of 4 from 3. The second leading scorers were Fournier with 15, Peyton Pritchard with 15. But Peyton Pritchard, 5 of 13 overall, 4 of 9 from 3, which means he was 1 of 4 overall from 2. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. Pritchard was fine. He hit some big shots. He did hit some big shots. But no one in this team played extraordinarily well. The Celtics had opportunities. They had cut the lead down to 2 in the third quarter. And then it was the Kevin Love and Damian Dotson show, where they each took turns assisting on each other's shots, and they combined for an 11-0 run. So Fournier had cut the lead to Fournier actually gave the Celtics a lead. And then the Cavs responded with that run, and it was never close again. Bottom line here, this game sucked. It really sucked. This was not entertaining. This was not fun. This was work for people to watch. There was no redeeming quality to this game. There was nothing in this game that made you say, wow, I love this. I love this sport. I love this team. This was a difficult slog to watch. It was, I'm sure, difficult to participate in. The whole thing from beginning to end, it was just tough. And the Celtics ended up losing. I don't know what analysis that there is left with this team anymore. They were way shorthanded. The guys who were there were just kind of meh. The Cavs almost like they played Anderson freaking Varejao in this game. I don't know what to tell you. They're the 7th seed. Coming up next, I'm going to get in on Tristan Thompson and his comments about the regular season. And then in the third segment, Brad Stevens dropped a very strong, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed line on the team. You'll hear from both of them when I come back here on the Locked On Celtics podcast. First, Rock Auto. If you got anything for your car, if you need anything for your car, go to rockauto.com. Rock Auto is going to give you a fair price based on what the part costs, and not something that is based on what the market will bear, like an airline ticket. Did you know that these brick and mortar chain stores that you normally go to, that they do that they rise and drop their prices based on what the market will bear? Do you know that those brick and mortar places, those places you normally go to, will give professionals a different price than you, the do-it-yourselfer? Is that fair? It's not. So go to rockauto.com. Just stay at home, log on via your computer, your mobile device, whatever it is. Just put in your car specs as you need them. Whether you're looking for something complicated, whether you're rebuilding an engine, or whether you're looking for something simple, just put in the specs what your car is, and it will give you all of your options, and it's a chance to save money. I had a person DM me a while back that said he saved like $600 on a part by looking it up on Rock Auto versus what his mechanic was trying to tell him. So I'm telling you, check it out. It hurts you not one bit to check out rockauto.com. So before you make that trip to the strip mall to go buy whatever it is that you're looking for, just check it out on rockauto.com. Then you can go and see what price they're giving you and go, oh, damn, I shouldn't have wasted my time. So go to rockauto.com, check them out. When you do buy a piece from them, and I know you will, make sure that you go to their How Did You Hear About Us box and write Locked On in there. If you don't, they won't know that we sent you. So write Locked On in there. How did you hear about us box? That's how they know we sent you. It's an amazing selection, reliably low prices. All the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. Hey, if you remember a while back, Tristan Thompson was asked, I forget what the question exactly was, but he gave an answer that basically said, the regular season is horse shit. Direct quote. And so he hasn't had an opportunity to speak to the media since. He had an opportunity after this game. And so I asked him about that quote. Hey, Tristan, earlier this season, you were kind of dismissive about the value of regular season games. How do you feel about where the team is positioned now, considering the play-in tournament and all of that?
Yeah, of course, this season has been, like Coach Stevens would say, it's a bunch of curveballs. injury bug has definitely hit us and has hit us hard. So, when I made that quote, I was referring to a full healthy team. But at the end of the day, it's got to be next man up mentality. Of course, we're missing a big part of our team, which is Jalen. And obviously with Kemba not playing and not Smart or Rob, it's definitely tough out there, but still there's no excuse for us not to come out and compete for 48 minutes. So with that playing coming, hopefully we can get some more guys back in the lineup and use these next 2 games against Minnesota and a hard playing Knicks team to get us ready for that playing situation.
I get what he's saying, but here's the problem with what he's saying. You don't get to pick and choose this sentiment of, hey, the regular season doesn't really matter so long as you stay healthy. Because you know what? Teams don't stay healthy. They don't stay healthy. There's always going to be an injury. No team finishes with its players feeling 100%. They tell us that every day. No one finishes at 100%. Someone's always banged up. And so he can try the cop-out of, hey, I was talking about if we're fully healthy. No. You know what? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Because he sat there at a time where the Celtics have not been 100% healthy at all. And this is why I wish we could have been in person, because Zoom calls, you only really get one pass at asking a question. But when he answered that question, the Celtics were still hurt. They still didn't have Kemba on back-to-backs. They still had, at that point, they were dealing with COVID issues. They were still dealing with Marcus Smart coming back off of a calf. Like they still had a lot of injury issues. And he could have said, like, yeah, as long as we're healthy, blah, 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 blah. But the team has been hurt all season long. Hell, Tristan, you were hurt to start the season. And then this was his first interview after getting COVID. So the Celtics, especially this season, especially now, especially in 2021, were hurt. This entire season is about teams being hurt and players being hurt. And so I have a theory. And I want to be careful about expressing this theory because I don't want to make it seem like I'm absolving this team of its responsibilities. But 2 of the past 3 seasons have been disappointments. And in one of those seasons, a lot of these players were the same players. What is the common thread in those other 2 seasons? Who was different? You had Kyrie from that championship Cavs team, and now you have Tristan Thompson from that championship Cavs team, and I just find it odd that one player from that team and another player from that team are on 2 of the most disappointing teams that we've seen. Not even the most disappointing teams, the 2 most disappointing teams of the Brad Stevens era. And both of those guys came in here feeling like, as long as we're ready for the playoffs, we'll be fine. Regular season doesn't matter. And here's my theory, that these 2 guys played with LeBron James. And LeBron James, that was post-Miami, Heatles, all of that stuff. Older LeBron, saving himself. On a team where LeBron said, hey, as long as we're getting ready for the playoffs, regular season doesn't really matter. As long as we're healthy for the playoffs. As long as we're good for the playoffs. LeBron said that. You know what? LeBron can say that because he's freaking LeBron James. And what this team doesn't have is LeBron James. But yet Kyrie came onto this team and Tristan Thompson came onto this team carrying that Cavs championship aura of, hey man, as long as we're good for the postseason, the regular season doesn't really matter so much. And what have we seen in both of those seasons? A regular season that didn't seem to matter to either team. Kyrie was a leader on one, Tristan Thompson was a leader on the other. They brought Tristan Thompson in to be a veteran presence on this team. He's the OG. He's the guy with a ring. And I just find it funny that Thompson and Kyrie both come from that particular team, and they come in and impart a very similar message, and we've had very similar seasons. Now, I am willing to throw in the caveat, the counterpoint, that this season has been so screwed up because of COVID and the short turnaround and all of this other stuff. And I am not absolving this team of its responsibilities. The guys in this team, the coach, Danny Ainge, the ownership, everybody has their responsibilities. But I do find that common thread that the leader that the Celtics brought in from that Cavs championship team has an attitude, this, pardon the pun, cavalier attitude of, hey, regular season doesn't matter as long as you're good for the postseason. And neither time has the Celtics been good for the postseason. So I'm not buying Tristan Thompson's excuses, because after that Kyrie season, I sat there in Milwaukee in front of Brad Stevens when they lost, and I asked him, hey, your teams are not known for this kind of thing. And he praised those Milwaukee championship habits. And I know this season there's no practice time, and it's harder to build those championship habits. But I tell you what, this Celtics team does not have those championship habits. It's kind of funny that two champions came in here, and these are the two seasons that the Celtics don't have those championship habits. Again, no practice time this year to build those. But an emphasis on the regular season of doing the right things from day one. Even if you treat the games like practices in November and December, even if you say to your team, look, we've got no practice time, this is our practice. November 15th against whomever. This is a practice for us. And maybe you lose that game, but you're trying to do certain things. And when you call timeouts, you're saying, this is what we're trying to do. And you treat those as practices and treat those as times to build winning championship habits. But if you're in the locker room and you hear from a guy that you brought in as your leader, as the veteran voice, as a guy with a ring that's trying to tell you, hey, this is how I got my ring. And he's saying, regular season is horseshit. I feel like that has a significant contribution to what we're seeing now. I feel like this loss to the Cavs is a little bit of full circle. That's my theory. And I think that has some bearing. What percentage? I'm not even saying it's above 50%. I don't know what it is, but it's enough to permeate the mindset of this team. Danny Ainge, before the season, made it clear that they were bringing Tristan Thompson in as a guy who was a champion on a team that was down 3-1. He emphasized that point. We're bringing this guy in because of this. He didn't say because, but he emphasized that point and made it very clear that this was part of the reason why Tristan Thompson was coming in. The Celtics had blown leads to the Miami Heat in the bubble. They had shown that they couldn't finish games, and he brought in a guy that was part of a team that came back from down 3-1 to win a championship. But the message that this guy brought in was regular season, nah, it's all right. Let's just get ready for the playoffs. Doesn't matter. Now here we are. Celtics are the 7th seed. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it's just very interesting that that's the common thread. All right, up next, Brad Stevens drops the "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" on the Boston Celtics. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action. You can bet on baseball, basketball, NHL, MMA. Pick a sport, you can bet on it. Pick a non-sport, current events. You can find a lot on BetOnline. So before the next pitch or before the next tip or before the next whatever you call the opening swing of a golf tournament, go to BetOnline on your laptop or mobile device. Check out all the great sports news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Get on over there, use the promo code LOCKEDON. You're going to get a 50% welcome bonus. So if you drop $100 in there, your welcome bonus is $50 with the promo code LOCKEDON. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. This is your chance to get in the game as the NBA prepares for its playoffs. Go to BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Please gamble responsibly. Brad Stevens after the game, or after every game, is very measured. Very, very, very rarely does he get on his team. Does he make pointed comments about his team? And he's very professional. He's a very Midwestern guy in the postseason, in the post-game Zooms. And to the point where people have a misconception about who Brad Stevens really is. If you listen to Brad Stevens, if you have any ability to get close to the Celtics bench, you're going to hear your fair share of expletives from Brad Stevens. He is not shy about that. He is just a normal guy. He's not Mr. Aw shucks Midwestern guy. I'm from Indiana and I don't swear. No, he swears plenty. He's an NBA head coach. He has to deal with these guys and match their egos in practices and all of that stuff. But in the post-game Zooms, very professional. Very middle of the road. And so when he's in these post-game Zooms, when he does drop a pointed comment or two, it's always very interesting. And I thought the comment that he made to basically wrap up his availability after the Cavs game was a very much a "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" kind of comment when talking about the defense.
Is there a short-term solution or strategy with in terms of coverages and things like that that you can talk to the guys?
It's a fine line, Bob, right? You want to try a bunch of different things in a game, but we have so many guys that are young that need to be good at the basics, and we're not. And so every rep with the basics is very important, and we don't need all of those guys to be playing next Tuesday, but we need one or two of them to be in there and playing, and obviously Tatum and a couple of the guys that are going to play big minutes. And you're looking for that. You're looking for guys that will separate themselves just by doing their jobs hard and well and reliably on that end of the court, because that's what we're going to need. We have not been consistent in that regard. And, it's one of the reasons why we're where we are. And I think that's probably the most disappointing thing to me about our season. It hasn't been our, anything more than just we could be better defensively. We could be more physical defensively. We could be more connected defensively. And if we lose guys for any given amount of time, then we should be able to still defend. And, this team hasn't been.
It may sound kind of innocuous, but it feels very kind of like if you're a player and you hear that, it's almost like, oh man, because it's true. This team should be more physical. This team should be more engaged defensively. This team has had plenty of opportunity to win games just by stopping other teams, and they don't. This loss against the Cavaliers was their 15th loss against a below 500 team. 15 losses against a below 500 team. The formula for a winning record is beat the teams you're supposed to beat, split the games against the better teams, and you're going to have a great record because basically half the league is going to suck. And in a normal season, 82 games, but in this one, 72, if you win half your games, what's 36? So if you beat the teams you're supposed to beat and you split the games against the good teams. So let's say you're supposed to beat half the league and you split your games against the other half of the league. That's 18. What's that? 44 wins, 54 wins, right? 36 and 54 wins. So check my math. I don't even know. I don't care. But it's a lot of wins regardless. But that's how the formula works every season. You got an 82-game schedule. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You split the teams against, you split the wins against the good teams, and you're going to be a 50, 60 win team. And so the Celtics have not taken advantage of that. But amazingly, inconceivably, they have a chance to not turn this around because I think we're all clear on they're not going to do anything serious here. This team it's done. That turnaround that I thought was happening when they won a few games out west, that was wrong. They fooled me. Hand up, my bad. It was a bad. I thought it was going to turn around. They were healthy, and that health never, goes back to my point yesterday of the Miami, that Miami team being what the Celtics wish they could be. But defense is two things. It's effort and it's communication. That's all it is. Effort and communication. Now you have to get out there and repeat certain things and understand, like, each guy on the team has to understand what the other guy wants to do. And so there's a chemistry that has to be built over time, and practices help that stuff. Okay, so that's not going to be there, but communication can be there. They can talk. They can talk to each other. There's nothing that says they can't talk to each other. So I don't understand why they don't. Effort is, I've talked about effort a million times. Effort is something that they could you just do it. And so they're going to be the 7th seed. The opponent is yet to be determined. It could be the Pacers. It could be the Hornets. It could be the Wizards. Who knows if they win that 7th seed game? They could. All they got to do is win one. So even if they lose, they get to play another one, and they'd be the 8th seed. And hey, they play one of Philly or Brooklyn. And I've been saying, like, hey, I wonder if Brooklyn's going to be the viable option there. Maybe Brooklyn's going to be too hurt, or maybe rusty, and the first round is going to be their most vulnerable round. And then I watched James Harden come off of a long absence and just carve the San Antonio Spurs to pieces. So any hopes of the Celtics beating the Nets, I don't know. But you know what they can do is go out there and make their lives difficult. They can go out there and make the first round opponent, whether it's the Nets or the Sixers or the Bucks, they can go out there and make it hell. And after all of this, after everything that we've watched this team do, it would be great to see a team go out there, David and Goliath style, and I don't expect them to beat that first round opponent, but take it to 6, take it to 7. At the very least, you can, if the Celtics go out there and take the Brooklyn Nets to 7 games and make it hell on Brooklyn, you can at least say, you know what? If they had, maybe if this season went differently, things could have been different. If they had Jaylen Brown, maybe things could have been different there. If they make the right moves, then the Celtics can join that group. Celtics fans should get that hope, right? Should get that hope. Starts with the defense. Brad Stevens calling his team out, basically, saying, it's disappointing. We should be this, we should be that. We're not. Why aren't they? This is on the players. There's no practice time. The players have been there forever. Okay, you have to integrate Peyton Pritchard and Aaron Nesmith. But those guys can pick it up. They're smart. Tristan Thompson can pick it up. He's smart. The rest of the team has been there. And the guys who have been there can direct the other guys on the team on the floor. They're NBA players. They can learn it. They can figure it out. Communicate. Put in the effort. That's just a matter of doing it. Does this team want to be just like that team from a couple years ago? Do they? Do they care about not repeating that? Okay, at this point, I'm prepared for a first round exit. As a person who's creating Celtics content, I'm pissed about a first round exit because what happens after that, we'll deal with that when we get there. I'll still be doing my podcast. But don't you want to put up a fight? Don't you have any pride? Don't you have any... are you going to walk down the street and feel good about yourself? About the effort that you put in? You're going to feel good about how this season ended? 2 out of the last 3 years going to end like this? You're going to go out with a fight. Okay, yeah, you're going to lose the fight. Maybe you feel like you're going to lose the fight. Doesn't mean you can't take somebody down with you. Put up a fight. Make them pay. If they're going to take you out, make them pay for taking you out. We're going to see how this goes. There's a weekend of games. Minnesota and New York. It's still possible the Celtics can fall to 8, but they're going to probably be the 7th seed. So the wins don't even matter. It's not even about the wins and losses at this point. It's about how they play. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll be back. I'll be back with a Friday show. That's for sure, because it's a daily Monday through Friday podcast. And then Sunday, after the Celtics play the Knicks, who knows how that goes, I'll be back to recap the weekend. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. You can get this podcast on every platform. I know we've had problems with Apple, but that's fixed. So that'll be done. You can also watch on YouTube if you're so inclined. Pop it on, put it on in the background, cast it to your TV. So I'm playing in the background while you're cooking. Put it on YouTube while you're at work and, just pop in from time to time and watch whatever it is. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and most importantly, share it. Tell your friends, tell everybody that they should be listening and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.